Hi guys, welcome back to Transits and Tactics. I was missing for the last couple of weeks and Anita did such an amazing job. She kept going and I thought that her videos were very inspiring. I've been moving apartments and oh my God, having the transits in the sacral gates when you have an undefined sacral. Talking about not knowing when to stop and really exhausting yourself. I definitely have experienced all of that. But we're now in the new energy, and this transit now is in gate 26, which is the gate of the egoist or the trickster. Sometimes it's referred as the gate of accumulation. It's a very interesting gate. We are now in the ego or heart center. So the themes here are really of power and maximum outcomes and getting maximum results with minimum input. So there is a bit of a danger with this energy, and yet it also gives us really, really great power of persuasion. So let's dive deeper into these themes. And I will tell you a story as I'm talking through this because I've experienced firsthand the influence of this transit. And if I wasn't aware of the transit, I would have been at least 1,000 euros down in my bank account because people can sell you stuff, right? This is if somebody believes that, they believes into something, this energy gives us the power of persuasion. So this is like a typical salesperson energy. And sometimes they don't take no for an answer, and they have something to say to any kind of objective. So, or objection. So, you have to be really, really aware. Now, you could be the one talking and persuading, or you could be talked at. So it's really, really important to remember. Right now, we're dealing with the energy that, yes, there might be something really cool that people believe in, and it might even be for your greater good. But you have to check if it's really aligned with your needs, because there's always an agenda with the gate of egoist. There's always there's something of a person who is persuading of, there's something of a personal gain behind that. So the story I wanted to tell you, I went to a dermatology clinic, just there was like a very routine thing. And I went to the nurse, and the moment I started sort of like exposing myself, her face changed, and she just looked like, oh my God, so concerned. And she started selling me all these things that I need to do, a full body new, some sort of AI scan and some biopsy that I needed. And she didn't like the fact that I was like tanning, it's really, really dark here in Estonia. So I go to solarium sometimes. And I know that she was right in everything she was saying. It was all valid and it was all for my greater good. And I'm a pale person normally. And I know that in certain age, some things happen to your skin. You need to find out. But that was not essential because I was just in the proper medical clinic with the doctor who looked at everything on my skin, and she said, there's absolutely nothing to worry about. It's all normal. Don't worry about it. And I was thinking, if I wasn't aware of this transit, because I really, really was, and I was watching out, like how people are going to, what am I going to be sold on to? And I almost laughed out loud because I could see how genuinely this nurse was concerned. But I knew that this is not essential. I just got checked. I know that this is also a business. It's a private clinic I went into. So this is the personal gain, right? It's a business, and they know that in order for them to survive, to be in business, they need to bring clients back and they need to sell these more expensive procedures. So of course I did whatever I needed to do, and I said thank you and I left, and it was so interesting to watch this, because there's also a grounding energy to this, the energy of persuasion, this 26. There's the grounding energy that is also in the heart center, ego center, gate 45. And 45 is so, it's an energy of a leadership in a way. It's kind of like, I will give you the seal of approval. I am the CEO, and I'll manage my team. This is the kind of like it's also a very power position. And this specific nurse, the way she spoke to me, it really was this position of authority. Like, oh yeah, how can you go to the solarium? How can you, and I felt like a child in school, and the teacher was giving out to me. And then I was thinking, okay, so I can see how this it's a little exaggerated. It's kind of like, okay, together we can fix you. Together we can do the things. Because 45 is a very communal sort of. It's about doing something together, right? For whatever benefit it is, material, physical, educational, otherwise, so we can provide for the future. So that was very interesting. If you have an open will center, which I have a completely open will center, but 65% of the population has an undefined will center. You have to be extra mindful of this energy because you could be the one talking, you could be a little bit boastful, right? Making claims that or promises you can't keep because you want to persuade, because you might have an agenda, you might see the opportunity, and the gift is there. It's so seductive. It's so cool to be able to just like, talk people into stuff. But make sure that you can commit to these promises because if you have an undefined will center or open will center, you're not designed to keep your promises. To be honest, you're not designed to commit to anything. So this is really important to keep in mind. And another thing as well, if you are the one talking, you might have the skill and you might have the presence, but you might not know who to present your this desire to persuade them or to get something out of the situation. You might not know when, the timing, unless you have gate 44 in your design, because gate 44 then forms the channel of surrender, and it's a wonderful channel with working with people, because that is exactly that gives you this innate knowing of when to speak, how to present it, and so you and your messaging can be recognized. And that's really, really interesting. So it's a complicated energy, quite exciting on one hand, but you might end up, it can cost you. You might spend money you don't need to spend. So check in with your strategy and authority. Have you entered this situation correctly? Is your authority saying proper yes, your not your excitement, not your mind, but your body, or your authority is confirming that this is for you. And also just check that the whatever they're selling onto you, it could be an idea, whatever they're bringing into your world, that it aligns to your needs, that it is something you need. It's not just something that sounds exciting, because that's where, you can be then a victim to this. Or the other way around, if you're persuading, is this really for the greater good of everyone? Or is it just your personal gain that you think that you can, sell? I'm sure that there's a lot of launches going on right now in the world of marketing and business that are selling a lot of stuff we don't need, right? And that happens all the time. But I have a suspicion this week they're going to make their money because there's just like an extra sugar coating that is available for all of us, to use. So yeah, so interesting transit. Anita, what's your experience of it?
Yeah, I have a defined will and I have this energy defined. And the word that came to me when you were describing your sales experience is the artful dodger. It's the energy that we can artfully dodge people selling us stuff that we don't need, right? So
Yeah.
that's as simple as it is. But this is a cool energy because it's part of, as you said, 4426, which is the channel of, well, it's not called it by any official book, but it's the channel of presentation. When
Mm,
people have this, they have the ability to present their gifts in a way that is really, really beautiful. They have the aesthetic eye to see what needs to be changed or not to make it more beautiful to sell, right? So
mm,
this is where the car salesman lives, but this is also where integrity in sales lives. It's a really cool energy because if you can't sell your product, you can't gather the resources, which is the will center, and the gate 45 is a money gate. So your ability to organize your money and manage your money with respect to your tribe is very cool as well. So I enjoy this energy. To me, it gives me um, a quality of kind of speaking in a way that I almost become invisible, which suits my 5-1. I have become invisible. It's the product and what They need what people need is what becomes visible, which I love about it. And, in the context at the moment, we're coming to the end of Mercury retrograde, which is all about this energy. It's also in the gate 26, or it will be in the next couple of days, or has it been? Yeah, it'll be coming back. Mercury will be coming back through the 5, the 9, and the 26. So we're really being invited to investigate what details are sufficient. And, Mars has also gone into retrograde since last weekend. Now, Mars has been retrograde this is in Leo, activating gate 31. Last time it was retrograde in this spot was December 2009 into 2010. So into March 2010. So with Mercury, it's, review your communication. With Mars, it's review your action. What actions are you taking? What actions do you need to take? With Mercury retrograde, it'll be something, and it's to do with taking the lead of shining in your life. Take the lead of your gift, share it, win-win. It's the diplomatic leader as far as I'm concerned. So it's about, well, what have you been thinking about for a long time that you're now ready to take action on? And it's a big action. Like you just moved in this energy. In 2009, 2010, we moved to the States at that time. So it's a big action, so to be aware of that. And it's moving, it's going through Leo, it's going back into Cancer. So when Mars goes into Cancer, it's not happy there, as we discussed already. But what it really is doing, well, where are your fears and your old childhood emotions or unhealed traumas? Where are they stopping you from stepping into that lead? Because we're moving into, we're literally moving into a new era of energy that Pluto moving into Capricorn was the start of the big change in business and work and how we do it. And that was 2008. It just moved out forever. Well, forever in our
For us,
lifetime,
yeah.
150 years, just moved out the 19th of November. And really, the way the energies are is okay, we've come through a whole review of systems that support us. We have a good idea what doesn't support us anymore. You just have to turn on the news, right? And you can see what doesn't support us anymore. And we're also going through behind the scenes is the stars are aligning to say, okay, you need to tune into your inner wisdom because it's your inner yes or no that's telling you what program to sign up to or what not.
That's
It's
true.
your inner truth that's telling you, hang on, that might have been true for me before, not anymore. We're not as gullible as we used to be. We've moved into a place where we're recognizing our values more now than ever and where we want to spend our valuable time, our precious energy, and our precious gifts, and with whom. And this is at the start, this literally is the start of a new era. So this gate in this is like, don't be fooled, don't be gullible. Stay in your integrity, which is your inner yes, and just discern your way through all these details. So that's where I am with this one.
I love this. I love this. Couple of things as well I want to just mention. We tend to not like the retrogrades. There's something, Mercury retrogrades, everything always electronics breakdown. I had terrible time setting up internet here in this apartment. But you know what? What I really love about the retrogrades, and I had to remind myself that you're actually in charge. You're in charge when the planet retrogrades in whatever this planet is influencing. So yes, there's a research, there is investigation, there is, find a figure out the way that will work. So I ended up actually sorting it out, even though you would think that it's Mercury retrograde, don't buy any electronic products, but I ended up with a really, really cool 5G router, for example, that just solved everything like this. And so now I'm ready to take over the world with my super fast internet, which just a few days before that, it just felt so unclear. And how am I going to move on? With Mars, it's the same thing, take this big action. You said that you bought a house in 2009, 2010. My late husband Les and his band, they won a Meteor Ireland music award. They became like the best upcoming new act. And that was huge, a massive, massive, probably the biggest achievement in his lifetime, and that was this energy. And I remember it because, I was leading the social media campaign for that project. And it was like the momentum, you could sense that it was building, and so much goodness was happening with it. So now is this time, this other retrograde, we have an opportunity to be responsible for our action, whatever, not being stuck in the childhood pace or anything. What is it teaching us? What Okay, I was stuck now for 2 weeks. I couldn't even do these transits. It wasn't just because the internet or moving, it was the energy that was just completely made me feel stuck. But one of the things is taking responsibility for your action is not to allow yourself to be stuck for longer than necessary, right? Do anything to get unstuck. Journal, meditate, do anything, talk to, what we call upstairs, anything that gets you unstuck, and eventually you will. And you'll start moving. That's what this taking responsibility is. So I absolutely love that we're going through this fantastic period, and we're starting to feel the energy of 2025, which I think now is the sense of it is different to what we had the whole year. So there's a little bit of a preview.
It's really different. And also it's because, Capricorn is what they call, it's this, is it cardinal, where this sign is designed to help you clear up what you no longer need. So if you're questioning, do I really need to do this in my business? Do I really need to do this? Good chance, no. Good chance, no. Except marketing, by the way. Anybody who tries to do business without marketing is, well, you need to develop your marketing
Oh, that's
style.
true. There's
Oh,
a,
to
it's
do
like,
that for that, right?
you
Really.
want to have a perfect like teeth all your life, but you don't want to brush them. It's that simple. Like you have to
Yeah,
do this. It's not just learn your skills. I love that you brought this up.
exactly. So we're listening to everybody talking about endings, but it's not ending to go into our most major grief. It's ending to things that you know are ready to go already.
Yeah.
And you've just haven't had the impetus or the motivation to make those changes to move into the next energy. It's the start. We're moving into Capricorn. It's the start of the next season, so to speak, Sorry, so Capricorn, yeah, I might have got that a little bit off technically correctly wise, but we're moving into now is a brilliant time to be setting your goals for next year. Not the 1st of January, now, because we're moving into that energy of and out of that energy of um, new beginnings.
Yes.
So out of the energy of endings into the energy of new beginnings. And if you notice, each planet, Pluto, Mercury, they all have their own new starts. And at the moment, there's a few of them moving into new starts together in the next 24 months. So it is a big deal. And new starts that are different. We've never experienced these energies before. It is 250 years since we were in this energy with Pluto and Aquarius. And when you look at it, it's amazing. It's like watching a big orchestra playing where the lighting shines on different instruments, and when you shine on different combinations of instruments, they create a different sound, and that's what's happening. The light is shining and lighting up these different areas in our lives to prepare us for this change. So embrace it rather than fight it, and but there is fight energy in the chart. So, be aware of that, um, which I'll talk about next week. But just to be aware that it is new starts. It's stuff we know isn't working already. Give yourself permission to let it go. And,
And I think
see.
it's very important to add here, with any change comes a period of confusion. As someone with the sun in the gate of confusion 64, I know all about it, and this is, yeah, you can feel stuck while the change is happening. It's always clarity comes in hindsight. And I think that most people, and I have these conversations with a lot of my clients as well about clarity, and they're saying, if only I was clear, I could take action. It doesn't work that way. First, you take action. You take action despite not being clear, despite not knowing. How can you know what new feels like? That's the whole definition of new, is the fact that you don't know and it's confusing and it's unclear, right? So you take imperfect action through that, and then you start collecting evidence of what's working, what's not working. I think that it's really important that we focus on this now. And Anita, you just mentioned earlier the word gullible. You said we're not as gullible as we are. Well, those people who are, you know, awakened, and I don't mean it in a kind of like a weird woke sense, but if you follow your strategy and authority, human design is so practical. It gives you literally the technique, right? The method, how to know what's correct. And correct, it doesn't mean that it's going to be good. Sometimes you need to know what bad feels like, but it's correct for you so that you have a point of contrast. And following your strategy and authority is how you will become much less gullible and much less victim to persuasion, victim to influences on the outside, because you know what's true for you. And it doesn't matter that the whole world is saying, no, but this is how things should be, because and that gives you so much power. So the more, and that's why this whole human design thing is not some sort of rule book. It is an experiment. You experiment with this awareness within you. When you do that, you become less gullible. When you do that, you can face the changes, you can face the confusion, you can find the trust to go through this. So we all need that extra trust now, and just know that lack of clarity doesn't mean you're stuck. It's just that you are walking in this new direction. It's every time when you go to somewhere new, say you drive somewhere new, how much longer that first trip feels, how much more insecure it feels, because you don't know whether you took the right turn. You're gonna, where are you? You always feel like, I don't know about you, but I don't like going to new places. It's like a stressful thing for me. I mean, I still go, but next time you go there, it's much faster. You already know what you're doing. So that's the way to look at it. New
Mm.
doesn't mean you're stuck. Confusion doesn't mean something bad is happening. It doesn't mean that you need to stop. And I
Mm.
really, really want to encourage everyone. Now we're heading into the new year, 25 years, a quarter of this century. Guys, we're already here, like at this mark. Let's just embrace this, whatever's ahead. Let's trust it. And, magic happens when we do.
Yeah, can I just add a distinction there? We're not sure of what's going to happen. We're not sure of the outcome, but we do know our inner yes, and we know how to navigate that uncertainty, that lack of clarity. Our inner yes is the one thing we can control.
Yeah.
And this is where, with our manifesting, the gate 26 and the gate 44 are in the same channel. The gate 26, when you're just about to take that action or that new, stay in integrity with the next step of your journey, the 44 is fear of the past repeating itself. So this is a key energy for us to understand how the details only matter if they're connected to your inner yes, to your
Oh,
decision
yeah.
strategy. They only matter. So any confusion is usually, this is where I call in my angels and say, okay, guys, can you just pare away all the things that aren't relevant and let me stay focused on what is? And so that extra help can really, this is where we're going. We're moving into a new place where we trust our intuition and we allow that divine help to support us as we're being human, as we're being human.
Yes. Yeah, because this is essentially is an experience of being human with all the things that happen with it, right? And I think it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun to just lean into it and not expect perfection, not expect ease, not expect some sort of ecstatic joy from everything, because that's not the point. Even when we say do things that light you up, this is a different kind of thing. And when you feel that inner yes that we're discussing here, you feel that light. It's a much, much calmer and more intimate feeling, I think, than what we're all kind of looking for. So we're just all talking about confusion. We're all just bloody confused, right? In this human
Yeah.
form
And
all the
and that's
time.
what the Mercury retrograde is kind of saying at the moment. It's saying, okay, there's so much information out there, it's really confusing.
Yeah.
That's why you need to go in. On our retrograde, Mercury retrograde, Jupiter, both opposite each other at this time. That's why we need to go in. That's why we're being told to, you can't even go out there without knowing your inner
Yes.
decision strategy. And it's really helping us to navigate. It's really helping us to navigate the unknown.
Mm. And that's
from
why
the,
this series is created, isn't it?
yeah,
And guys,
yeah,
we are half year. We are doing this for half a year now. It's a kind of little
I
celebration.
know.
We went half circle now through the gates since we started. I think it
Yeah,
was in May. It was
yeah.
really May or June. So it's amazing. Thank you so much for following us, for being here every week, and we will see you in the next episode of Transits and Tactics.